Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with the jazz duo guitarist Jesse Lewis and bassist Ike Sturm on the 2020 CD Endless Field. We caught up with them during early 2020 during the global pandemic to talk about their history, the new music, plans, and the future, along with so much more. Enjoy.
Again, like I was saying, this is kind of an extraordinary time in our history, so thanks for taking a minute out. And so how are you guys doing? Staying safe and all that?
Yeah, we're hanging in. We're trying to we're both have kids, so we're like juggling all our regular day-to-day stuff, and then trying to keep an eye on them, and it's wild, but
yeah,
it's like we've got a nice day here. It's nice when the weather at least is nice,
Yeah, I agree. Well, cool. Hey, I just wanted to catch up with you guys about your latest project and what we can do to kind of promote what you guys are doing and what's going on. So give me an idea about your latest project and how people can get a hold of it, kind of what's going on.
We just put out this we're about to put out this epic project that we've been working on for many years, actually, of planning, and it's called Alive in the Wilderness. It's coming out on Biophilia Records, which is a label that has is doing a lot of work around environmental consciousness, and so for this project we went out into the desert in Utah for 2 weeks, and Ike and I recorded every day. We'd go and find a new location in a diverse setting. So sometimes we were in canyons, sometimes we were by a waterfall, sometimes in the forest, and we would record music each day. And also we had a film crew that was documenting all the performances as well. And it was kind of amazing. It all actually worked out. And the result is going to be a 17-song album that was all recorded remotely in the Utah wilderness. And every song is going to have an accompanying video, so the listener can actually see the exact locations where we were, and then all of the proceeds from the record we're going to be donating to the Natural Resources Defense Council to try and support their mission in environmental protection. So it's kind of an epic project.
Right on. So how did you guys get together and start making music?
Well, Jesse and I have known each other since we were both, almost since we first lived in New York. It's been, I guess, getting close to 15 years now. And we started playing together as sidemen in a lot of different bands. It was kind of one of those funny things where you notice early on, like, oh, I'm in another project with this guy in another band. And we always got along playing together. And we actually so quickly had kind of a feeling of playing together that just went in a very particular stylistic direction, that we kind of teased each other on some of our first gigs that we should start a duo someday. And it was like, we really had a sense of this a long time ago. And years went by and we were doing a lot of our own projects and a lot of sideman projects. And we had moved up here. We've been really good friends for a long time since we were back in Brooklyn. And when we were up here, we would go out just for fun and go for a hike or go for a run or something. And we're enjoying the area around where we live is a really beautiful area. And so we were out just enjoying that and talking about kind of get to the stage of your career where in New York where you might be in like 15 different bands, at any given time. And it's a lot of fun and it keeps it fresh, but there gets to be this feeling of like, what's the longevity or what kind of statement are we really going to make in the long term if you're just constantly playing this little gig and this little gig or this tour or whatever it is. And we just started to talk about the feeling of that and the impact of that and how each of us was really kind of wishing we had something we could dig into a little more that was collaborative, and then we were like, well, I guess what would happen if we just, just went for it and started something. And so we carved out some time. In a funny way, it almost echoes a little bit of where we are right now, where we had to really carefully cut out like a weekend and set aside some time where we could go away from our normal routine and just literally almost like a retreat where you focus completely on music, like 12 or 16 hours a day. And we really dug into it. And so we had a lot of, kind of planning that even went into that stage. And it just, one thing led to another. Our first album ended up growing to include more of our community, like Donnie McCaslin and Fabian Almazan, a lot of our other friends, Ingrid Jensen, and some of the folks that were on our first record. And that record originally was intended to be a duo record as well. And we just got so excited in the studio environment of bringing in these incredible players that we're fortunate to have, connections with and friendships with. And, so we ended up, including them. And this time around we thought, what would it be like if we really dug in and if we go to some really wild place and try to more fully realize this vision? It gets tricky to bring 8 people out to a place like that. So we had to kind of focus it in and change the music in a way that would allow us to create the sounds we wanted to create only with the two of us,
Right on. So, during this time of COVID-19 and the music has stopped, when we get back at it, talk to me a little bit about what you hope the revelations are for both musician and audience member, like what they come back with and maybe something that's revelatory that we realize about all of this.
Jesse, feel free to jump in on this too. I was thinking that it's so fascinating. We never, of course, never imagined we'd be in this place. No one did. And this project has such an interesting kind of dialogue with where we are right now that we could have never intended. And I think our project has always been about like getting outside, kind of slowing down your normal routine to really like take in what's around us. And at least that's what we needed. And we felt like a lot of our community, we hear that from some of our friends too. And this time has been such a kind of violent, forced entry into that universe that nobody's been prepared for, and so it's really affecting our project in kind of a fascinating way and interacting with that. So I'm curious to see where this is all going to go for our music and for everyone else. And I'm talking with a lot of people about how we can, what we're going to do for the next few months to try to support musicians, but also in the longer term, I think people are going to maybe be a little hesitant to go out and hear music for a little while, and so I think we're going to have to find ways to maybe do some outdoor performances, some virtual, some video work. A lot of the things that have been happening that Jesse and I have been digging into, I think are coming into play for a lot of musicians now. So we're basically just lucky that we, that we're on that side of it and that we're relating to it in that way. But I think obviously we'll need to adjust to that a lot too. And I guess I would just hope that, our hope with this project of encouraging people to go outside. If you're stuck in New York City, it's really hard because people right now can't even go out to parks in a lot of cases. So we're hoping that this music, was designed to allow people to come on a journey with us to these incredible places. Some people might not be able to hike out to some of these crazy places where we went. And so we wanted people to be able to feel like, as you listen to this album, you hear the different locations and the water and the desert and the birds and wildlife. And we wanted people to feel like they were actually on that trip with us. So hopefully, like I said, we could have never intended how necessary that kind of experience might be for some people right now. And so I hope that people will, our mission of encouraging people to go outside and slow down and just, experience the things that are around us. I think the world is sort of teaching us that right now in its own way.
Well, hey, guys, I really just kind of wanted to catch up about the new album, about how people can get their hands on it, and about this, what's going on in the world right now. So thank you for taking a little time out to talk with Neon Jazz. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Jesse and Ike for their time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.